disappointment. That's what the trustees I talked to are calling this. They say the news took them by surprise, and now they're talking.
Have you ever heard of a politician whose actions are so controversial that even their staunchest supporters abandon them? Meet Tiffany Henyard, the mayor of Dolton, Illinois, a name now synonymous with scandal, reckless spending, and alleged corruption. Critics have even dubbed her America's most corrupt politician, a title no one would aspire to hold. Henyard has gained national notoriety for her controversial behavior and decisions, leaving both her constituents and political observers shocked and frustrated. Once seen as a promising figure capable of bringing positive change, her tenure in office has been overshadowed by a series of allegations suggesting self-serving priorities and a blatant disregard for the responsibilities entrusted to her. Reports paint a troubling picture of rampant financial mismanagement, with accusations that Henyard has used taxpayer funds to bankroll a lavish lifestyle. These allegations include luxury travel, stays in five-star accommodations, and extravagant expenses that appear to benefit her personally rather than addressing the needs of her community. Each new development in the Henyard saga sparks fresh outrage, keeping her name in headlines and intensifying accusations of corruption. The scandals have not only tarnished her reputation, but have also alienated her original base of supporters. Many who once believed in her vision now feel betrayed, citing her actions as a glaring misuse of public trust. The disillusionment is palpable. Residents and critics alike are left questioning how Henyard can justify such behavior, especially when Dolton faces significant financial challenges and widespread dissatisfaction with local governance. Her leadership has become a lightning rod for debates over accountability, transparency, and the ethics of public service. Tiffany Henyard's downfall serves as a cautionary tale of how political ambition, unchecked by responsibility, can lead to widespread disillusionment and division. The community she was elected to serve now finds itself at the center of a national conversation about the cost of corruption in public office. Tiffany Henyard's political career is a whirlwind of controversy, a dramatic saga of extravagant spending, alleged corruption, and a once promising administration now teetering on the brink of collapse. As investigations deepen and public outrage grows, even her allies have begun to turn against her. When Henyard took office in 2021, she seemed poised to become a local political star, hailed as a transformative leader for her community. For a fleeting moment, her supporters lauded her bold rhetoric and progressive image. However, the optimism surrounding her leadership soon unraveled as allegations of mismanagement and self-serving decisions emerged, tarnishing her reputation and shaking public confidence. Among the most shocking accusations are claims that Henyard approved massive, unjustified raises for select police officers, disbursed overtime pay that didn't match reported hours, and misused government funds for personal indulgences, essentially treating public resources as her private treasury. Critics have also pointed to her lavish expenditures, which seem to benefit her inner circle, while the rest of the community suffered. Dolton's economic situation has now reached a crisis point, with a multi-million-dollar deficit hanging over the town. Many squarely blame Henyard for this financial catastrophe. Reports of poorly conceived policies and questionable decisions further suggest that her priorities lay in enriching herself and her allies, rather than addressing the mounting challenges. Facing her constituents, the once celebrated administration is now defined by distrust. Disillusioned supporters feel betrayed, while her critics see their warnings vindicated. Residents who initially placed their hopes in Henyard now grapple with the bitter realization that their trust may have been misplaced. As investigations dig deeper into her conduct, Henyard's political empire is crumbling under the weight of growing dissent from an increasingly vocal community. Her tenure has become a cautionary tale of how unchecked ambition and personal greed can erode the foundation of leadership and devastate an entire community.
On the street, fighting crime, and instead we have several officers that are riding around.
One of the most bizarre and revealing aspects of Tiffany Henyard's tenure as mayor of Dolton is the constant stream of new scandals, seemingly surfacing every few weeks. Among the most infamous is her proposal to slash the salary of any future mayor, contingent upon her losing re-election. This move, widely seen as a strategic backup plan for her potential downfall, highlights her awareness of her precarious position and waning support. Yet this proposal is just the tip of an iceberg laden with allegations of power misuse and financial excess. Henyard's spending habits have become emblematic of her contentious leadership style, marked by a preference for luxury over addressing the needs of the community. In just 5 months, she reportedly spent tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars on extravagant vacations, first-class airfare, and stays at high-end hotels, including renowned establishments like the Four Seasons in Atlanta and the Marriott Marquis in Times Square. These lavish expenditures have sparked outrage among Dolton residents, who feel they are footing the bill for Henyard's indulgences, while their town sees little tangible benefit in return. Town trustee Chris Gonzalez, a vocal critic of Henyard, has repeatedly demanded accountability for these questionable expenses. Yet Henyard and her allies have remained conspicuously silent, stonewalling efforts to uncover the truth. This refusal to answer questions has fueled the perception that Henyard operates above the law, with an administration that exudes entitlement and impunity. Adding to the public's frustration are revelations of dubious overtime payments within the Dolton Police Department during Henyard's watch. Shocking figures have emerged, showing some officers earning more in overtime than their base salaries, with one officer allegedly raking in over $100,000 in overtime alone, more than double their regular pay. These startling irregularities have sparked accusations of gross financial mismanagement and favoritism, raising serious concerns about how such practices were allowed to persist unchecked. Coupled with Henyard's unchecked spending on personal luxuries, from high-class accommodations to extravagant travel, these findings point to a profound disconnect between the mayor's priorities and the needs of her constituents. Her tenure has become a cautionary tale of the consequences of unchecked power, leaving Dolton residents disillusioned and betrayed. Many now question how their trust in her leadership could have been so misplaced. As more scandals come to light, and demands for transparency grow louder, the damage to the community, both financial and moral, continues to escalate. Henyard's administration paints a sobering picture of governance gone awry, a stark reminder of the importance of accountability and ethical leadership.
All 9 counts, I believe he's cooperating. And if you cooperate...
As is often the case in situations like this, scrutiny has extended to those closest to Tiffany Henyard. Here's where things get particularly interesting. Henyard has been accused of playing favorites, especially with her controversial police chief and loyal ally, Deputy Lacey. Lacey is no stranger to controversy himself, having been charged with bankruptcy fraud and ultimately found guilty. Despite this, Henyard rehired Lacey after the board voted to fire him, a decision that sparked outrage among both board members and residents. Many questioned how Henyard could blatantly disregard a court ruling and reinstate someone with such a questionable record. Adding to the drama, Lacey reportedly continues to show up for work as if nothing happened, acting as though he's still in charge. This power struggle has only intensified the tension, with residents and officials alike expressing frustration at Henyard's actions. Amid the mounting scandals, you might expect Henyard to lay low. Instead, she's doubling down, portraying herself as a victim of political persecution. Henyard has claimed she's being unfairly targeted because of her political views and race. She's made speeches calling for unity and accusing her detractors of trying to bring her down. Many see this as a classic deflection tactic, shifting attention away from the allegations against her. But the stakes have only risen with the involvement of former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who was hired by Dolton's board to investigate the town's finances. Lightfoot's initial findings paint a dire picture. Dolton's financial situation has worsened significantly under Henyard's leadership. The town is now millions of dollars in debt, with reports of unaccounted spending and dubious credit card purchases. One particularly shocking revelation involved $40,000 charged to Amazon in a single day, money that remains unaccounted for. Adding to the controversy, Henyard has boasted about taxpayer-funded events that have done little to justify their cost. For instance, she spent $85,000 on a party featuring R&B singer Raheem DeVaughn, rapper Jay Holiday, and comedian Sonia D. But the event was a complete failure, with almost no one showing up. Critics point to this as another example of Henyard's disconnect from the community she's supposed to serve. Meanwhile, public meetings in Dolton have descended into chaos, with frustrated residents openly calling for accountability. The combination of lavish spending, questionable decisions, and a lack of transparency has left many feeling betrayed. As investigations continue and the pressure mounts, Henyard's tenure has become a case study in how unchecked power and poor governance can erode public trust.